21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
While customer acquisition is important for every company out there, everybody's always looking, how can I acquire more customers? The one thing that a lot of companies tend to ignore or not really pay attention to if they're acquiring enough traffic to their site, well, what is happening once the visitor actually gets to the site? Are you converting enough of those visitors to your website to actual customers and loyal customers? That is the science of conversion rate optimization. There's a lot that goes into conversion rate optimization. It is not just turning a light switch on and off. It's not just changing the color of a CTA button. It is about trying to create a better, more user-friendly and persuasive experience on your site. My name is Ayat Shukairy. I am happy to be here. I am a co-founder of Invest, a conversion rate optimization company, as well as the co-founder of FigPie, a conversion rate optimization tool. I started my journey actually not in CRO. I started my journey as actually a teacher. And then from there, I decided, you know what, this is not for me. I went back to school, took business and marketing classes, and I was pretty enthralled with the concept of persuading people. Once the visitor gets to a site, how do I get them to actually select or click on add to cart or, sign up or, reach out in any way, shape or form or fill a form? So I was completely blown away by the whole entire concept. And everybody at that time, this is back in 2006, was so focused on customer acquisition, getting traffic to the site, ranking your, for specific keywords and making sure that their SEO is intact. However, nobody was really paying attention to, well, what happens once they do get to our site? Is there continuity between all the PPC dollars that I'm paying and the ads that I'm spending on and the actual visitor experience once they get to the site? And as of now, I mean, right now it's 2024, you look at websites, a lot of them are very similar. They're either the same. If you just hide the brand name, you don't know the difference between one site and the other. So also there's a lot of copying from one site to the next and really brands sticking out and really drawing attention and engaging the visitor a little bit more. We're definitely seeing that companies aren't doing enough of that. They're not doing enough of that brand involvement, ensuring that they're persuading their visitors and providing them with the information that they need. That's really how I got into it. And from there really grew our company. And then once we grew our consulting company, we decided, you know what, there are so many tools that are helpful out there for conversion rate optimization specialists. Let's have those tools available to our consulting clients. And that's where we created our FigPie tool. We were using it initially just for our clients and our customers in-house, but then we decided to actually launch it as its own company. And now you can actually access it. It's an amazing tool. It has heat maps, session recordings, polls, as well as A/B testing. And those are all tools that really help you determine what are the problem areas of my website. And then if I do identify a problem, how do I actually test that specific problem and ensure that it is providing an uplift in my conversion rates? Because ultimately that's our goal. My goal isn't just to make changes on my site. I should decide and research what the changes are that I want to make on my website, but then I need to test, right? I need to test the differences between the actual control and the variation in order for me to determine whether or not that change on my website actually did increase conversion rates. Did it get the visitor to the next step? Did it, result in them contacting me in some way, shape, or form? So that is kind of the science and the art behind what conversion rate optimization is. I always tell people it's not as simple as people talk about. It is complicated from the perspective of you really do need to understand your visitor. You need to do enough user research. You need to do enough analytics research to understand how the visitor is flowing through your funnel. You need to look at heat maps. How deep are they scrolling? Well, if they're not scrolling deep enough on, for example, a page, and there's very key information for my visitor, I probably need to move that information higher up on the page in order to engage them more. So those are all the tools that help kind of identify the different problem areas for me to create really a conversion roadmap of areas that I'm going to test. These are the different problem areas that I'm going to test. Making the changes without testing means that you don't know the actual impact that change had on your bottom line. So that's why A/B testing is a really important tool. All right, when we talk about customer engagement, how do I understand a little bit more about persuading my visitor? Well, they get to, for example, they land on the homepage of my website. I want to move them to the next step. I want them to get to a product page. I want them to get to my sign up and form page. How do I get the visitor to actually do that? There's a number of key things that I need to do in preparation. I first need to understand my site traffic makeup. Where are the sources of traffic? Where are they coming from? What devices are they using right now? Of course, like we see that majority of our clients, their customers are utilizing mobile devices. For example, it's usually like 70% of their visitors are on mobile and 30% are on desktop, but mobile conversion rate always remains much lower than desktop. So that's number one area. Oh, I need to be focused on mobile. That's number one thing that I want to look at. The number two thing that I want to look at is, okay, well, where are they coming? Like, what are the mediums that are driving my visitors, to my site? Is it, organic traffic? Is it paid traffic? Well, if I'm spending dollars and I'm not converting them, I want to understand what is actually the value of a conversion. Am I spending too much to acquire those customers and not actually converting them? There's lots of questions that you want to ask in advance and before you actually jump into the actual site. But then I want to look, okay, this is where they're coming from. This is the device that they're coming to, and this is the page that they're landing on. First off, is there continuity between what they saw before and where they landed? That's the number one thing you want to see. If I, for example, am running an ad, I'm promising something to the customer, and I take them to a page that doesn't have the same image, doesn't have the same copy, doesn't have the same offer, right away, right off the bat, I'm probably going to lose that customer. That customer is not going to be interested because they were interested in something. They clicked on it. They got to a page that is not relevant to what they saw before. If they get to a page that's cluttered with many different offers and it's overwhelming, they're going to be abandoning your site and they're probably not going to come back. So again, from the offset, I can probably capture a lot of my audience just by optimizing that landing page, understanding that landing page, where that visitor is coming from, and then what I can do to really enhance that page in order to make sure that there's continuity between the ad or where they came from and what they're seeing on that landing page. So that's kind of the number one thing that I would probably say that you should do with your customers to kind of enhance and increase engagement. One of the other key things that I always talk about is you want to enhance trust and confidence in the visitor. Listen, we always say it's kind of like the 5-second rule. You're going to have to convince them within 5 seconds. So I already talked about image, headline. They should be matching wherever they came from. But at the same time, I also want to have something compelling on the site in order to really enhance. And I want to create like, hey, this is a legit website, the customers trust this website. So I should have reviews. I should have some sort of social proof. I should have some sort of user generated content that's going to communicate to my visitor that you are a trusted company. You're somebody that they do want to do business with. You're somebody that they're going to give their credit card to. If I don't have those elements, then I might lose people because they might have that lack of trust and confidence. Another way to enhance trust and confidence is really to make sure that you understand what your value is. What is the value, the unique value that you're offering your customers? Again, I kind of talked about this already, that a lot of sites right now, you look at them, they look the same, so what makes one better than the other? Do you want people just to hop around from one site to the next, or do you want them to select you? If you want them to select you, you really need to enhance that unique value proposition. It needs to be obvious to the customer. What are you going to give them that nobody else can give them within the market? That really needs to be clear to the visitor in order to really engage them and enhance that trust and confidence to get them to move forward. You also want to make sure the call to action in general isn't buried at the bottom of the page. We always say make sure that it's somewhere above the fold. The fold of the company, again, like think about your screen or think about a mobile screen. Where is the fold, the end part of the page? If your, CTA is way at the bottom of the page, you're forcing the visitor to have to scroll and they haven't necessarily, you want to make sure you capture them immediately. I don't want to necessarily have them scroll and look for the call to action. So those are some tips to really enhance engagement, get the visitor to really trust you a little bit more, and to kind of move forward in the visitor experience. All right, we started Invest in 2006, myself and my co-founder, and the company was just really just trying to understand a little bit more about or bridging clarifying the difference between conversion rate optimization and search engine optimization. At the time when we started in 2006, people didn't even know what CRO was. They were always wondering, what is conversion rate optimization? So we really kind of tried to inform the public. When we started, there were only a couple of companies in the United States that offered conversion rate optimization, like a specialized service. Now you have like digital marketing companies. Every single digital marketing company has a conversion rate optimization wing. But when we began, it was actually very, very new. There weren't a lot of people that were actually offering it. So it was kind of a really right time to be in the business. And then as a result of that, we actually in 2009 published our book called Conversion Rate Optimization, the Art and Science of Persuading Customers into Visitors. That was a really big deal, published by O'Reilly. It was an amazing kind of accomplishment for us. And then, of course, just being on the speaking circuit, going to so many different digital marketing conferences and talking about the topic. My key always has been about educating visitors, about educating people about what conversion rate optimization is, because people tend to think that it's very simplistic, but it's actually complex because you do need to dig into a lot of research in order for you to be able to identify real problems on your site and then offering and creating solutions and A/B testing them. So part of my goal from speaking at different conferences was really just educating people on what conversion rate optimization was. And throughout that, we had kind of some wonderful experiences. Before actually, so my co-founder is my husband, and he was a software architect at a consulting company. So when he didn't join me immediately in 2006, I kind of started on my own. And then in 2009, that's when he joined me. So he at the time was working on a migration of this company named, of course, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Motorola. So they at the time were launching this huge e-commerce platform, and he was working on it. They launched the e-commerce platform, and then there were like zero conversions. Took them, they spent millions and millions of dollars in order to get this site up and running, but they had zero conversions because nobody within the company thought, hey, let's think about user experience and conversion rate optimization in order to have a better user experience. And so that was kind of a big like lightning bulb moment where he's like, oh, this is exactly what you're doing. Let me join the company and let's kind of grow it even further. So, thankfully, now our company has grown. We have, what we did was we created within our organization basically different pods. The pod includes basically a CRO expert, somebody who does the design, a UX designer. And then we have a developer because we need to develop the experiments, of course, and then a QA resource because before we launch anything on a client website, we really do want to make sure that we're reviewing that. And of course, a project manager that's overseeing all the different aspects of the project to ensure that everything is flowing correctly. So we didn't initially have this set up. Initially, it was maybe just the CRO and the developer, and we didn't have a pod structure. Everybody would just kind of take whichever project was available. When we created this pod structure, it really define things. We were able to create processes. We were able to create roles and responsibilities. And every single person within that pod now felt whatever clients they were handling, they all felt invested in making sure that those clients succeeded, because we have metrics that we're measuring. We're ensuring that, hey, what is the win rate for this specific pod and this specific client? It became very different. Everybody now felt invested. There was kind of like a gamification also that made it a little bit more enjoyable for the employees to kind of feel like, hey, this makes sense. We really want to actually invest in this and make sure that we're pushing and launching so many different experiments. We also look at how many experiments were launched and, how many were, of course, like I said, win rate successful. So there are many, how many hours did the team spend? Was it more? Was it less? So it made it a way for everybody to kind of see and measure and achieve specific goals. And that kind of made the organization flow in a better way. So as I mentioned before, one of my, when I first started my career, I decided to go into education because I've always been passionate about teaching other people, reaching other people. And, of course, working with children at the time was really great. But when I left that world and I jumped into the world of conversion rate optimization, it was very different, vastly different. Again, you're now an entrepreneur. I am responsible for other people. I'm growing a company. There's so many different aspects, but I still found a way to draw in my educational background and my passion for reaching and connecting and teaching other people. And one way I did that was, of course, through going to these different conferences, speaking at different conferences. Again, there's sometimes, that imposter syndrome that some people may feel. And I definitely, at the beginning of my experience, felt that a lot. But then through just continuously pushing myself and, knowing that this is something that I'm passionate about, it really kind of propelled me to speak. And I became, really an international speaker. I even last year traveled all the way to countries that I haven't been to before. I went to Bucharest and I spoke at a conference, and it was just a really great experience to even connect with people that were of a different culture and a different background. So definitely, certainly that's been very, very fulfilling for me. And one of the other things that I did was, of course, publish our book in 2009. That also was great because, again, it was a way for me to showcase my passion as well as what I've learned through my journey, just doing conversion rate optimization, and share that with the world. And as a result, really our book is an Amazon bestseller, which has been really excellent and amazing for us. There's not a lot of books on CRO, so it was just great to contribute to that world. So I've always been passionate about helping people fall or visitors fall in love with websites. That's the premise of conversion rate optimization, right? Is making the website so attractive that your visitors are actually falling in love with it. And when I started my business, one of the things that I kind of learned to appreciate was working with so many variety of different clients from every, different places, clients that have different kinds of businesses, and every single time learning about a new business, like, oh, wow, I never really knew this existed, or this was popular, or whatever it is. So just kind of, and learning not only about that, but learning the intricacies of every single business was so amazing. And then trying to figure out and problem solve what to do for a site like this. So this site exists and it has all these, qualities, and this is what the business is all about. And these are the business objectives, and this is their unique value. Now, what do I do with all this information to create a website that visitors can really fall in love with and create a better experience for our clients? So, there's definitely been when I first started and now, of course, there was a learning curve of how do you deal with clients? How do you communicate with them? but I think I have that natural instinct of liking to connect with people and learn about their experiences. And that really helped kind of form some of the ways and the relationships that I've had with some clients. And again, really then going into the problem solving mode. That's really been always my passion, is the problem solving of trying to figure out, what do I do with this specific site? How do I create it better? And how do I create sites again that visitors fall in love with? Recently, I actually started an organization that is focused on helping women grow and nurture their talents, their creative talents, because what I noticed was within my own kind of community that a lot of women either focused their lives on their career or their family, and they never really focused on any creative talents that they have, even though they were maybe interested in art, or they were interested in singing, or they were interested in writing, but they never had time to grow those skills because their lives, kept them very busy. So, I kind of figured there's an opportunity there to help women find safe spaces where they can grow those skills by bringing in experts that can help them. And then at the same time, showcase those skills in safe spaces. Again, not all people want to showcase, which is completely okay. Not all people want to showcase in public settings. Maybe they only want to showcase in a small gathering with just women, whatever it is. But I want to make sure that I can provide that for people that are seeking that. And the reason, actually, there's a couple of reasons why this came about is because I love, for example, first of all, I love to sing, and that was really what drove me to this. But also, I love sports, and so a local friend created a league for women to play softball, floor hockey, volleyball, all these different sports. And it's been so much fun and wonderful, and an outlet. And again, something that a lot of women are passionate about, but they just don't have the right tools or the right ways to actually do that. So I figured, well, this is another aspect that's super important to women, and I want to definitely provide that. And so I launched my organization, Inham Collective, which has been really, really wonderful. So for more information about myself or about our company, you can visit invest.cro.com. Or you can visit me on multiple different social media platforms. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can, just using my name, or on Twitter, my first name, or on LinkedIn under Different Marketing. I hope to see you soon and hope to hear from you. And if you ever have questions on conversion rate optimization, you can certainly ping me and I will respond.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.